Welcome into the Phightins final, guys. I know it's a little later tonight, but the Phightins final is coming at you right now, 15 minutes before midnight. Unfortunately, your Phillies fell to the Kansas City Royals, not a team that you were hoping to fall to, but yes, they fell today 7-5 to the Royals, returning home after a long road trip to Citizens Bank Park, which started out to look like a good night. Another fall apart inning for Aaron Nola. Talk about an MO for a guy, but Phillies lose it tonight. I want to talk to you guys about that. I want to talk about the Trey Turner situation. And also, congratulations to Mr. Cole Hamels on his official retirement. I know he hasn't seen Major League Baseball play since 2020, but he has officially announced his retirement. So congratulations to him. He'll always be a Philly, 10 years as a Philly, 2008 MVP of the World Series, and brought this city in a World Series for the first time in a very long time, which we've been living off since then. So brings a little perspective into the time frame. But guys, like I said, it's big out here joining you. Phillies fall to the Royals 7-5, lose the first game of the three-game series over the weekend, Friday night. I want to thank the Steel Steps guys for doing an awesome job tonight. They had a great interview if you're a wrestling fan at all, especially from the Philadelphia area. ECW's own Todd Gordon, the godfather of ECW interview. What an awesome interview. So I'm glad to see that. But it was good that you guys had to deal with that. It was a good time because it's a lot of not sadness, but just not a great game tonight. Not a great outcome of tonight's game, I should say. But I remind you guys that this show is brought to you by Sherry'sTickets.com. That's right, Sherry'sTickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Sports, concerts, theaters, you name it, they got it. No matter where you're at in the country, go to Sherry'sTickets.com. Great prices. There's no hidden fees at checkout. The price you see before you click is the price you're going to pay. And you get additional 10% off by using that great promo code EOP10. That's right, EOP10 will save you the additional 10% off. Those are already great prices. Go to Sherry'sTickets.com. So like I said, if you're just joining me, it's 7-5 loss to the Kansas City Royals, the 36-75 Kansas City Royals. Okay, put that in perspective. 36-75 Kansas City Royals. Now listen, I always tell you it'd be hard to sweep a team, no matter how bad a team is in Major League Baseball. But it's just the MO of this team a little bit is, you do well against the good teams or the teams you need to beat, and then you come home and you should be able to keep that momentum rolling at home. Yet they fall apart, and it was, solely through a fall apart inning, mainly the sixth inning for Mr. Aaron Nola. Tonight, let up 4 runs in the one inning, enough to get the Kansas City Royals to a 6-5. By the end of the sixth inning, a 6-5 lead, and then they tacked on one more run in the eighth, giving them that 7-5 ultimate win number that they needed. But let's talk about this real quick, guys. Let's break down the lineup tonight. Schwarber was 0 for 4 with a strikeout, hit by a pitch as well. Bomer, just coming off his birthday, 27th birthday, yep. He was 2 for 5 with a run and a strikeout. Harper was 0 for 4 with a walk. Castellanos was 1 for 4, scoring a run and 2 RBIs. He's the one who got the scoring started with the 2-run home run in the bottom of the first. It looks like somebody's getting his power and his confidence back, so that's good to see. Stott was 2 for 4 with 2 runs. Real Muto was 0 for 4 with a strikeout. Marsh had the other 2 runs. The other 2, not the other 2 runs. He was 2 for 3 with a run. Turner got a hit tonight, 1 for 4, 1 RBI. Rojas was 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs. The other 2 RBIs came from him, I should say. And Rojas is really impressing me. I don't know about you guys. I know it's a little early to gush over a guy because it takes some time for guys to get tape on him to figure him out. Just calm, cool, collected guy. So I want to talk about him for a moment. I'm going to talk on the Trey Turner situation, and I'm also talking overall how Aaron Nola pitched tonight. But let's look at this. Like I said, it's good to see Nicky Batts with his getting his power back, making it 2-0 in the beginning of the game at the bottom of the first. And then the scoring went as that to the top of the third. Bobby Witt Jr. homers. This guy, young guy, just really looks good. I mean, the Royals, they have something to build around with him. I mean, second year in Major League Baseball, he already has 20 home runs on each year. So, young guy to follow, just to keep your eye on. One of those guys you'll root for from afar if he continues to play. Like I said, bottom of the fourth, Johan Rojas doubles and scores. Bryson Stott and Brandon Marsh. Like I said, the guy. Let's talk about Johan Rojas. We've seen his defensive plays. I said maybe I can think of one flub he had in the outfield. Wasn't a huge one, but enough of a flub. But he just fun to watch defensively, and you don't often get to say that about guys. And on top of the fact, he's just very calm and cool and collected at the plate. Doesn't ever seem like the moment's too big for him. I mean, I know Dombrowski was on the record to say that during the trade deadline that Johan was, they weren't seriously taking any calls on Johan Rojas. Listen, I listen to any calls. I'll listen to anybody. I mean, unless they give you some stupid, ridiculous offer, but I'll listen on anybody. But yeah, Johan Rojas could be a big cog in the Phillies wheel into the future, and another young piece, to add into the Alec Bohm, Bryson Stott pile, because you can only keep signing guys hundreds of millions of dollars a year before it becomes too much. Top of the sixth, this is where Aaron Nola started to fall apart. Mike Massey, who I think is coming into this was it Massey? I forget which one of them. I'll tell you right now. Sorry, guys, my computer's being very slow right now. Yeah, Massey, that's it. Yeah, Massey. He was batting .218 coming into it tonight. He homers off of Nola, making it 3-4 or 4-3 Phillies still. Freddie Furman comes in, doubles, and scores. Melendez or Edward Olivarius. I'm sorry, Melendez moved on. Edward Olivarius tying the game at 4. Then Blanco had a heck of a game. 3 stolen bases, and I think 3 RBIs altogether. So, and he scored, made it 6-4. Trey Turner singles, and he scores a Bryson Stott, making it 6-5, keeping the game within reach. Blanco hits a sack bunt and is able to score Samad Taylor, making it 7-5 at the top of the 8th. And that was the scoring for tonight's game. Ultimately, a loss 7-5 for the Phillies. Phillies are now 59-51, 8 games over 500, and Kansas City Royals are now 36-75. It's not something you want to see, especially from a team that bad. You would hope you keep this ball rolling, especially with one of your top pitchers. You would hope, you would assume, be able to handle this team well. He allowed 11 hits, 7 runs, on no errors. So that's not what you do against a bad team who's sub 40 wins at the 110, 111, 12 mark game. I mean, that's what makes this more frustrating. I mean, again, even bad teams win games. I mean, they've won 35 other games, but that's it. 35 games over that many scatter out. This is something you need to now win the next 2 games. You can't lose this series. We said this about Pittsburgh. Not a great team. They sold their whole team, pieces of their team away, and we lost the series to them. The Guardians, not a good team. Lost the series to them. Not a great team, I should say. Lost the series to them. These are things that you can't do. So now you have to win back to back. I believe Sanchez might be coming up tomorrow. I think it's Sanchez tomorrow. No, I'm so off right now with the lineup because with adding the extra guy now, it's really hard to remember who they have. So hold on one second. Give me a second. I'll tell you who is coming up tonight or tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sanchez. I was right. Okay, it was Sanchez. So Sanchez, who has been pitching very well, by the way. I'm actually look forward to him pitching more than I look forward to Aaron Nola at this point pitching. But let's look at Aaron Nola's line. But before we do that, remember, this is brought to you by David Archeri. Workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law. David R. Cherry is your man. You get hurt at work, you get hurt in a car accident, man. It can change your life, and not for the good way. David R. Cherry is going to fight for your rights to make sure you get everything you deserve and more. Go to cherryinjurylaw.com or call them at 610-565-0300. That phone number again is 610-565-0300. cherryinjurylaw.com. Nola, he went 5 in the third innings, 8 hits, 5 runs, 5 earned runs, 1 walk, 8 strikeouts, let up 2 home runs, and he's sporting a 4.58 ERA. I believe Sanchez is under a sub-3 ERA, so let that sink in for a moment. Junior Marte came in relief of Nola, went 1 2/3 inning, let up 2 hits, 1 run, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. Hoffman came in 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 earned run, 2 strikeouts, and Covey shut it out with a 0 burger across the board in the 9th. Phillies weren't able to do anything really in the 9th, put the cross, except for, I guess you want to call Kyle Schwarber getting hit by a pitch, getting him on first, but that was about as much movement as the Phillies got in tonight's game in the 9th when it counted. So, it's these bad teams. You can't afford to lose games. Like I said, it's hard to sweep series. I know this is game 1 of series of a 3-game series, but now you're behind the 8 ball. Now you can't lose a game. You can't lose a game. You come off momentum, taking 3 out of 4 from your division rivals, a team in front of you at the time in the wild card standings, which we'll talk about in a moment. And you drop the ball. You drop the ball. And that's the problem with this team, which makes you frustrated, okay? But I want to talk some about Philly. I want to talk about a conversation that has been had throughout Philly sports talk and Twitter and social media, just conversating with people in person, is the Trey Turner standing ovation, cheering, getting behind him, showing him love and support, that, we're there for you. And I'm all about it. I'm all about it. I'm all about getting the guy, because there's a big emotional component to this game, especially being a new guy in a new city with a new contract where you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to prove yourself. And can I just say kudos to the fans, kudos to the guys who are out, the people at the game especially, who did stand up and cheer for him every time. I'm seeing on social media where people are going, "Oh, it's fake. It's phony. It's too much. It's too much." We can't win. We can't win. Oh, Phillies fans are hard-nosed, gruff, piss and vinegar kind of fans, and they'll boo their own grandmother if they, if she's at the plate. But then when the fan base collectively gets together and says, let's cheer this guy on. Let's cheer this guy on, and let's do right by him. Let's emotionally support him when he's down, because it's hard to, it doesn't help kicking a guy while he's down. I mean, he's been owning the situation. He definitely has. I lost the game, he said. When is Schwarber coming out of a leadoff spot? 170, 160. I'm with you on the Trey Turner thing as well. Thanks, Steve Connolly. Yeah, Steve. The question, I just feel like it's not going to change. They ran with it last year. He may die on that hill. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, do you move Stott up? I mean, he's producing even when you're moving up, but do you move him up too far? Does it cost you? Put Stott and Bohm at the top. Stott, Bohm, Harper, Castellanos, Romuto, Marsh, or Schwarber, Romuto, Marsh, whatever you do with it. I don't know. Steve, it's a good question. It's a real good question. It's like, it's, I don't know. That's a good, I don't know how else to answer that. You would think by now, but it's like they're all focused on the Trey Turner thing. They're just kind of hoping people aren't really paying attention to the Kyle Schwarber, I think it was 0 for 13 going into tonight's game as well. And then another 0 for 4. So now he's 0 for 17 after tonight's game. That's a very good question. But yeah, like again, and people, I heard people in sports radio, I heard people talk to me personally like, well, Ben Simmons, you guys crushed Ben Simmons. Well, you guys crushed James Harden. You guys crushed Joel Embiid. Um, when they do bad, you boo, whatever. You throw batteries at Santa Claus. Exactly. This is my point. We have a fan base that has been kind of had piss and vinegar just tattooed across our foreheads. We're not good people. We're all angry. We're all ready to fight and beat somebody up for no good reason. And a moment this fan base gets together and gets a chance to like, let's not just support the guy by cheering him on when he does good, but let's support him to say, we know you're trying. We can see in his face. I mean, his interview after that third Marlins game, I mean, the guy looked like he was about to cry. And I think anybody has a half a heart, feels for the guy. Really does. I feels for the guy. I felt for the guy. It was kind of hard to watch, to be honest with you. Hey, Daniel Barry, what's going on? But the difference between James Harden and Joel Embiid situation is, number one, they've been here longer, and it's been constantly year after year the same song and dance. I mean, he's only been here, 3/4 of a season. And the guy's trying and he's owning it. I mean, how often have you heard James Harden and Joel Embiid own their situation? So I think that goes a long way with the fan base, goes a long way with me. I know that for sure. But like, the difference between Trey Turner being like turning it on and being Trey Turner and not being Trey Turner can be the difference of a win-loss. I mean, Trey Turner's pretty solid. He went 2 for 4 tonight. Could be a difference of a win and a loss. Doesn't boot the ball in Miami. Doesn't make two bad defensive plays in Miami. Could be the difference between a win-loss and a sweep of the Marlins. Just a lot of different things like that. So that's why I think this fan base is behind him. Believe me, this is not going to last forever. If he continues even after the cheering and us trying to support him emotionally, you know, I don't, the Boo Birds will return and something will have to be done. But if as long as he stays a liability, it's only going to hurt us, not going to help us, and not going to make the fans real happy. Jeff's chiming in. I don't know what else to say. What else to say about what? About Trey Turner? Like Jeff, were you supporting the fact that fans were standing up and cheering for him every time he came to the bat? Did you feel it was forced or fake or unnecessary? Like, guys, feel free to chime in how you feel about that. Like, how did you feel about the fan base reacting? Like, I just think it's nice because the way we've been pigeonholed to a jerky, hard-nosed, step over a person in the street type fan base, even though I could tell you a lot of other bad stories about other cities and other fan bases that would make us look like choir boys. So it's just it's like we can't win. We can't win. Like, you try to be good to somebody, it's fake. You try to you get on somebody, you're jerks. Like, it's like, pick one, pick a lane and stick in it. It's just like, whatever narrative we need to. Are we that villain that you need? That the rest of the world needs, and that's my problem. And a lot more of this was either hot take radio guys or national guys who are just trying to play that narrative up a little bit. But it is what it is. Jeff saying Nola, yeah. I mean Nola. It's more, people are like, oh, why don't we get behind Nola then? Because we've been behind Nola for a while, and it's an MO type situation. It has been going on too long. Now, listen, if this rolls on for Trey Turner, and especially into the next year, there'll be no supporting him at that point, making a lot of money, and he ain't gonna just say, well, here's my contract back. I'm not earning it. So it's just I believe that this guy can get out of it. It's just if and when, if it's going to be this season and when this season. That's the question. Um, But guys, remind you that this is brought to you by Philly Sports Trips. Next year, big thing, MLB heading to London again. This time it's Phillies and the Mets. So June 6th to the 12th, 2024. Go get your deposit down now. What a great Christmas present. Even just paying the deposit for somebody. But what a great present. What a great opportunity to get that Phillies fan in your life something. San Diego trip, last chance, man. Last chance. It's getting filled, and they're going to be locking it down. I just talked to Vince earlier today. Last chance, San Diego trip. Check it out. All the away trips for the Eagles, they're getting locked up too. So you guys don't want to wait. Don't hesitate. Go to phillysportstrips.com. Sign up. Get ready. Roll with Philly Sports Trips onto these cities. Show your Philly fandom. Go to phillysportstrips.com. So yeah, I think that's why it's a little different. I think Trey's new, and you can see he's struggling, and you can see he's owning it, and he's getting in front of the camera and owning it. And I think that's your difference between a lot of the guys I just mentioned, Aaron Nola, guys who've been here long enough, and it's the MO, the guy, the consistency. I mean, yeah, he's been consistent this year, but Trey Turner hasn't been doing this for a year in and year out. That happens. Yeah, there's no hugs and heart, no well wishes and nice signs being held up with his name on it at that point. But I really do. I really round of applause, especially to the fans in the stands and the rest of you guys listening and on social media who actually have a heart for a guy who is trying his damnedest to produce for this team, to produce for the city, and help be a cog in the wheel that brings this city a World Series championship. So I will never blame somebody for that. It's just guys maybe who you can't compare them to Hardens and Bees because sometimes they seem too much like me guys. Not about the city. Like you can see that he's letting himself down. It's when you can see it's beating the person up more. Like people rallied around Embiid. Remember when he was crying after the Toronto series? We all rallied around him. Like, all right, this guy it really hurt him. It hurt him as much as it hurt us. And we saw, okay, he's gonna make himself better. But then, same story, same dance, and it's harder to get behind when it kind of keeps happening. Slap me in the face once, I can, but slap me in the face 2, 3, 4 times, not so much. Looking at let's look at the out of town scores right now. Top of the eighth, the Seattle is up 8-7 over the Angels right now. LA is the top of the eighth. That means LA's got bases loaded with 2 outs, and it's 4-3 over San Diego right now. Atlanta walloped the Chicago Cubs 8-0. Washington beat Cincinnati 6-3. Tampa Bay beat the Detroit Tigers 8-0. The Mets just got walloped by Baltimore 10-3, and Houston beat New York, beat the Yankees 7-3. Toronto beat Boston 7-3. The Chicago White Sox lost to the Guardians 2-4. And Miami lost to the Texans 6-2. Minnesota beat Arizona 3-2. Milwaukee lost to Pittsburgh 8-4. And Colorado beat St. Louis 9-4. And that is your out of town scoreboard, which leads us into the next conversation, talking about the wild card, just jockeying, if that's what you want to call it. Real quick, guys, brought to you by Dolan's Bar, 24 East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park, right in Delco, right off 95 exit Ridley Park, only moments away from that exit. So if you're coming from the Philadelphia, right south of the airport, right north of Wilmington and Delco, if you don't know how to get to Ridley Park, you need to check your map because you have to go to Dolan's Bar, the most Delco bar, dolansbar.com, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, he's on it. And they're active. What a great place to hang out. Quizzo, music, great times, memorabilia. Grab a beer, grab a sandwich. You never know who you're going to run to at Dolan's Bar. Check it out, dolansbar.com. So wild card standing. So after going out of those out-of-town scoreboards, luckily tonight, a lot of the teams around us are in the hunt, lost the games that we needed to lose, except for San Fran, who's in front of us. So really didn't shift us a lot. We were still in the second place. Cincinnati is in third place. San Francisco is 3 games above, 2 games above us, 3 games above Miami. That's looking in at a half a game out. Arizona they're on a 4-game losing streak. They are 1.5 games out of the bottom wild card spot. Chicago's 2 games out. San Diego's 3.5 games out, and then it jumps down to 7.5 games for the Mets and more for Pittsburgh, St. Louis, Washington, and the Rockies. So this is why I'm saying it's important about these games that we should have won, could have won. Like I said, if you go back this week and just take back 3 wins that, not that we got beat, but we lost because we beat ourselves. And, this is a world of a difference. We're top spot. Just woulda, coulda, shoulda. But this is the kind of baseball. This is going to be this tight race to the end, all the way to the end. So, guys, buckle up. This is what we're in store for. But other than that, guys, I want to thank you for joining us tonight. Here is the lineup at EOP. May have missed a few things, except for the finals. All these shows were podcasts, or wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Google, Spotify, you name it. Wherever you get your podcast, we are on it. Check it out. Or you can go to our YouTube page and subscribe. Go to our Facebook page and follow. Twitter, follow, all that kind of stuff. Or go to eopsports.com or edgeofphilly.com, whatever's easiest for you to remember. eopsports.com will get you all that stuff and more. Some great articles came out. Our boy Austin over at the Attacking Third wrote an amazing article summing up the win for the Union on Thursday night. Our boy Joey Marks from Patterson Ave Fanatics, who will be on tomorrow at 9 a.m. He was there. He wrote a great article summing up the Marlins series for the Phillies and so much more there, wrestling and all that stuff. Like I said, the Steel Steps were on just earlier before me. So, guys, check it out. Other than that, guys, thank you for joining me in for a late show here. Quick late show. Kept it under 30 minutes for you tonight. Guys, tomorrow night we will, if the Phightins final, will be back post game for this Phillies game. We will talk to you guys then. Thank you for joining us and have a good night's rest.